Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance would like to welcome you today to our overview of the Workforce Investment Act of 1998, or WIA, and the services that may be available to you through this federal program. Today will be your formal introduction or orientation to this program, which you will hear called WIA throughout this presentation. Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance has developed this user-friendly way for you to learn about the WIA services available through this online orientation. First, a little bit of information about Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance. We are a nonprofit agency located here in Hillsborough County for over 10 years. During that time, we have helped thousands of people just like you find a job. We have also helped individuals to get training if they are interested in a particular job, but the job requires skills that they don't have. This orientation is about the WIA program, which is run by Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance, and how the services available in this program may be accessed to help you find a job, or first to obtain new job skills, and then to help you find a job. For us to be able to keep track of who has completed this orientation, an online questionnaire will appear at the end of the video. There will be 5 questions on this questionnaire. Those 5 questions and answers will be provided to you during today's orientation. To assist you in the questionnaire, you may want to write down the correct answer on a separate sheet of paper as the questions appear on your screen during this orientation. At the end of this presentation, you will also be asked to complete an online WIA application and initial assessment. We will also review next steps and final steps that you must take to fully complete your WIA application process. If at any time during the online process you feel the need for additional assistance or you need to make use of our computers, please visit the Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance one-stop location nearest you that offers the WIA program on-site and ask to see a Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance WIA staff. We will provide those locations to you later in this orientation. Now let's look closer at what we will discuss today in the order in which it will appear in this WIA orientation video. What is WIA? What are core and intensive services? What are training services? Who is eligible for the program? What documentation do you need to provide to prove your eligibility? Who is suitable for the program? What are the WIA support services available? What are the WIA program obligations? What's next in the WIA application process? What are some other services that may be available to you? Where are the WIA one-stop locations in Hillsborough County? Now, let's begin. What is WIA? The Workforce Investment Act was signed into law by the President of the United States in 1998. This federal program was designed to provide 3 levels of services to help individuals gain employment in high-skill, high-demand occupations. Services can be as simple as access to our online job listings or as advanced as financial assistance with training for a high-demand job that should provide you with long-term career opportunities. WIA is a work-first program. That means that the primary goal of anyone enrolled into this program is to find and keep a job. We will talk today about how the 3 levels of services available through the WIA program are all aimed to assist you in getting a job. We will also discuss the requirements for entry into the WIA program. Let's review the services and activities available through the WIA program. WIA services are divided into 3 different levels of services or activities. These are 1. Core or reemployment services, which are generally self-serve. 2. Intensive services, which are services provided by staff. And 3. Training in the form of financial assistance to go to school to learn new job skills that will help you to get a job in an occupation where there are job openings in many Hillsborough County businesses. Let's go over each of these levels of services. Core or reemployment services are often received through a Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance one-stop resource room and can include any one of the following or a combination of the following: outreach, intake, or program orientation to let you know more about the services available to you, initial assessment of your career interests, job search and job referral assistance, workshops that assist you with resume and cover letter writing, online job search networking, and more. Access to employment statistics or trends so you can find out what jobs will most likely have vacancies and their pay, assistance in establishing eligibility for financial aid such as Pell Grants if you decide you want to enroll in training, follow-up services for up to 12 months after you receive services to make sure you don't have a need for additional help, tools, supplies, or materials required for certain jobs, information on filing for unemployment compensation. Intensive services are received most of the time through a Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance staff and can include anyone or a combination of the following: comprehensive and specialized assessment to help you make those important career decisions, helping you develop a career plan, career counseling, adult education and literacy training if you need to update your basic math and reading skills to meet an employer's needs or to start a successful training program, case management. Training services is the third level of services under WIA program activities. If you have been unable to get or keep a job through core and intensive services, you may be appropriate and suitable to receive training assistance. Training assistance comes in two forms. One, a training scholarship, which allows you to attend occupational skills training at any one of our approved education partners. And two, on-the-job training, where Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance pays an employer up to 50% of your wages during a short training period. If you are interested in occupational skills training, you need to know about customer choice. Customer choice is the guiding principle when you are selecting an occupational skills training program. The type of training you choose must be on the Hillsborough County Targeted Occupations List and must be offered by a Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance approved training provider. But it is your choice of which training program on this list best meets your needs, and it is your choice of which approved training provider's school you want to attend. The Targeted Occupations List was developed by the state to show information on the high demand and high wage training and education programs in Hillsborough County. You can view the most current Targeted Occupations List for Hillsborough County by visiting the Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance website, www.workforcetampa.com, selecting Specialty Programs, and then selecting Region 15's Targeted Occupations List under the heading of Workforce Investment Act at the bottom of the page. You can view the approved training provider list for Hillsborough County by visiting the Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance website, www.workforcetampa.com, selecting Specialty Programs, and then selecting List of Approved Training Vendors under the heading of Workforce Investment Act at the bottom of the page. It is important to do your research and to make an informed decision on which approved training provider school you want to attend, because once you enter a WIA training program, you cannot switch schools. WIA funding is only approved for the school and the training program that you initially select when you enter this program. Our approved training providers are now monitored as well as level of enrollment per need by each occupation on the Targeted Occupations List, or TOL. Your career counselor will alert you if there is a temporary hold on a training provider or a specific occupation. If so, we encourage you to review the list again, making an alternate selection. To find out more information about occupations, including growth opportunities, average pay, and job descriptions, please visit the ONET website at online.onetcenter.org or www.bis.gov/OCO/. Question number 1, true or false? Training programs you are interested in must be on the Hillsborough County Targeted Occupations List for high demand and high wage jobs. True. WIA federal dollars must be used to pursue training in a growth or high demand occupation that appears on the Targeted Occupations List for Hillsborough County. Additionally, training providers and each TOL are monitored periodically. If the market becomes flooded, then a selection may be temporarily closed. If so, we encourage you to review the lists again, making an alternate selection. Now I want to give you some additional important information on 2 training services under the WIA program: occupational skills training and on-the-job training. Occupational skills training assistance is provided through an individual training account which is commonly referred to as an ITA voucher. This is the allowable amount of $3,500 that will be allocated toward required tuition, fees, and books. The funds will be distributed in vouchers payable to the vendor or training provider for the required fees. The ITA voucher can only be used at a Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance approved training provider for occupational skills training that leads to a job in a demand occupation that is included on our targeted occupation list. An ITA voucher will not exceed $3,500 per program year. The program year begins on July 1st of each year. We will not pay for tuition or books that have already been paid to the school for which you are on a payment plan. Therefore, any requests for assistance must be made in advance. WIA cannot reimburse any student for funds already paid out of pocket. Some schools and/or training programs may have prerequisites or general education requirements which are not covered under the ITA. Occupational skills training programs cannot exceed 2 years in length. You must show that you are in need of training, and you must demonstrate that you are suitable and can successfully participate in training without dropping. You must be unable to obtain another grant or scholarship assistance that covers the full cost of training and are in need of additional training assistance. On-the-job training assistance is provided through a contract that Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance has with a local employer that authorizes the employer to provide an individual enrolled with training while working on the job. Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance will reimburse the employer for up to 50% of your wages while you are in training. The employer hires you and you're an employee from day one. The training period is usually 10 weeks or less. You are paid by the employer while in this on-the-job training. The employer follows a specific training plan developed with Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance as you are being trained at your job site. Question number 2, true or false? Each program year, there is a limited dollar amount available for training costs that can be covered by a WIA ITA. True. There is a cap of $3,500 that a WIA participant may receive in WIA financial assistance to assist with training costs for a 2-year training program, totaling $7,000 across the 2-year training program. What should you know before deciding that occupational skills training is right for you? Now it's time to go over a few things you need to research and then think about before you decide whether training through the WIA program is right for you. You need to find out what the total cost of training is, including tuition, books, and supplies, and figure out the balance of those costs that would not be covered by the WIA ITA. Find out if the training provider you are interested in is a Pell-eligible school, so you can apply for additional assistance through Pell grants. You can apply by filling out a separate application at fafsa.ed.gov. Print off proof of application or provide the results of your FAFSA determination. Find out if there are other possible scholarships which will assist you with the cost of the training, such as scholarships.com, fastaid.com, and fastweb.com. Find out if the training provider offers job placement assistance at the completion of training and what their success rate is in the occupational area in which you are interested in. Schools are often required to report to Florida's Department of Education and also locally to Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance. Determine if you have any obstacles that would keep you from being employed in this field following training: medical, criminal, or family obligations. Determine if you are able to attend classes on the days and times required by the school. Determine if you can financially manage your living expenses through the completion of your training program. Some training may last for over a year. Find out what wages you can realistically expect in this profession: entry level, with some experience, and after a few years working in the profession, and what the growth expectations are for your chosen career field. Find out if there are additional certifications required for employment in this field. Physically visit the training facilities of your choice to speak with current students, speak with instructors, Ask to sit in on a class. Ask if they are accredited. If so, by whom? Ask if any of your previous credits are transferable. Who is eligible for the program? To determine if you are eligible and suitable for the WIA program, we'll ask you many different questions. In addition to meeting one of the 6 types of WIA eligibility that we'll go over in just a minute, there are a few general eligibility requirements that also must be met. These include 1. Your age. You must meet the age requirement under the specific eligibility categories if there are age requirements. 2. You must be a resident of Hillsborough County. 3. You must be a U.S. citizen or you must have received a permanent resident card that gives you the right to work in the United States. 3. If you are a man born after December 31st, 1959, you must have registered with the Selective Service. Now, let's look at specific federal eligibility criteria for WIA services. There are 8 general groups or types of eligibility under WIA. 1. Dislocated workers. An individual who has been terminated or laid off or who has received a notice of termination or layoff from employment and is eligible for or has exhausted entitlement to unemployment compensation or has been employed for a duration sufficient to demonstrate attachment to the workforce, but is not eligible for unemployment compensation due to insufficient earnings or having performed services for an employer that were not covered under a state unemployment compensation law, and is unlikely to return to a previous industry or occupation. 2. Dislocated worker also means an individual who has been terminated or laid off or has received a notice of termination or layoff from employment as a result of any permanent closure of or any substantial layoff at a plant, facility, or enterprise, or is employed at a facility at which the employer has made a general announcement that such facility will close within 180 days. 3. Dislocated worker also means an individual who is self-employed, including employment as a farmer, a rancher, or a fisherman, but is unemployed as a result of general economic conditions in the community in which the individual resides, or because of natural disasters. 4. Dislocated worker also means an individual who is a displaced homemaker. Number 5. Low-income adult means an individual over 18 years of age who receives or is a member of a family that receives cash payments under a federal, state, or local income-based public assistance program, or received an income or is a member of a family that received a total family income for the 6-month period prior to application that, in relation to family size, does not exceed the higher of the poverty line for an equivalent period or 70% of the lower living standard income level for an equivalent period. Number 6. Low-income adult also means an individual over 18 who is a member of a household that receives or has been determined within the 6-month period prior to application for the program involved to be eligible to receive food stamps, qualifies as a homeless individual, is a foster child on behalf of whom state or local government payments are made, or is an individual with a disability. Number 7. Low-income youth means an individual who is between the age of 14 and 21 who has a barrier to employment and receives or is a member of a family that receives cash payments under a federal, state, or local income-based public assistance program, or received an income or is a member of a family that received a total family income for the 6-month period prior to application that, in relation to family size, does not exceed the higher of the poverty line for an equivalent period or 70% of the lower living standard income level for an equivalent period. Number 8. Low-income youth also means an individual who is between the age of 14 and 21 who has a barrier to employment and is a member of a household that receives or has been determined within the 6-month period prior to application for the program involved to be eligible to receive food stamps, qualifies as a homeless individual, is a foster child on behalf of whom state or local government payments are made, or is an individual with a disability. Now, let's look further at specific eligibility requirements and the proof you would need to provide under each of the WIA categories. Dislocated worker eligibility. To establish eligibility under the category of dislocated worker, you would need to provide proof that you were laid off or your employment was terminated. This could be a copy of your layoff notice. You also need to provide proof that you are receiving unemployment compensation or that you have exhausted unemployment compensation. You would also need to document that you are unlikely to get another job in your previous industry or occupation. Acceptable proof for this may be a list of your job search efforts similar to what you provide to UC, unemployment compensation. Or provide proof that you have been laid off or have received a notice of impending layoff due to a permanent plant closure or substantial layoff at your place of employment. For veterans, if you are a military service person that is within 1 year of exiting the armed forces or 2 years of retirement from the armed forces, you may fall under this category. Or provide proof that you were previously self-employed, but that self-employment ended due to the economy or natural disaster. Or provide proof that you are a displaced homemaker. Low-income adult eligibility. To establish eligibility under the category of low-income adult, you need to provide proof that you meet the adult age requirement. You must be at least 18 years old at the time of program registration. Provide proof of verification of your low-income status, which would include providing proof of your income and the number in your family, or your receipt of food stamps, or proof of any of the other categories of low-income adult eligibility we just mentioned. In-school or out-of-school youth low-income eligibility. To establish eligibility under the category of in-school or out-of-school low-income youth, you would need to provide proof of your age. You must be between the ages of 19 and 21 years old for a program we call out-of-school youth, or between the ages of 14 and 18 years old for our in-school youth program. Provide proof of your low-income status, as we just discussed, under the disadvantaged adult category, and provide proof of any existing barriers to employment or to attaining your diploma or GED. Examples of barriers include if you are deficient in basic literacy skills, if you are a high school dropout, if you are an ex-offender or youthful offender, if you are a homeless or runaway or a foster child, if you are pregnant or a parenting teen, if you require additional assistance to complete an educational program or to secure employment. In addition to the proof you must provide for the specific eligibility criteria just mentioned, you must provide proof of the general eligibility criteria to support your application. You must provide proof of Hillsborough County residency, your age, that you are a U.S. citizen or have been given the right to work in the United States, your Social Security number, a copy of your Social Security card, that you registered for the Selective Service if you are a man born after December 31st, 1959. You can get the proof by visiting the Selective Service website at sss.gov, and history of your job search efforts. Question number 3, true or false? I only have to provide proof of my age as a part of my application for the WIA program. The answer to this question is false. As we just discussed, there are many different parts of your application that you must provide proof or documentation in addition to your age. such as providing that you are a Hillsborough County resident, that you are a U.S. citizen, or have received approval to work in the United States, your specific category of eligibility, such as disadvantaged adult, etc. Now, let's look at the second part of this section of our WIA orientation video, which covers suitability factors. WIA is not an entitlement program. This means you are not guaranteed to receive services just because you meet the eligibility guidelines. We will also look at your suitability. You must be both eligible and suitable to receive WIA training assistance. To determine if you are suitable, we will need to review if you have received training assistance in the form of financial aid previously under the WIA Trade Adjustment Act, TAA, Welfare Transition, WTP, or Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF, programs. You already have skills or recent credentials or degrees in a targeted or growth occupation. Your current math and reading abilities are good enough for you to keep up and be successful in occupational skills training program. You may be asked to take a TABE or aptitude assessment to determine current literacy levels. You have other financial resources to support you while you're in training once cost of training is determined covered. Resources may include unemployment compensation, savings, the help of family, etc. You have a stable living environment. Don't forget, we will be asking you a few questions at the end of this video in order to document your attendance and understanding of the entire video. We recommend you continue to write the answers as discussed during the orientation. Question number 4, true or false? I have to be determined eligible and suitable to receive services under the WIA program. The answer to this question is true. Services under WIA are not an entitlement and require you to be eligible and suitable. What are the WIA supportive services that are available? WIA support services may be provided to eligible youth, adults, and dislocated workers if you are enrolled and participating in program activities, in need of support services in order to continue to participate in program activities, and if you are unable to obtain such support services through other community service agencies. The specific types of WIA supportive services available in Hillsborough County are shown on the attached webinar. Please note that all supportive services are subject to the availability of WIA funds. Once enrolled in WIA, you should discuss your supportive services needs with the staff that is assisting you. What are the WIA program obligations? You will have some specific obligations if you enroll into the WIA training program. Let's review these together. You must agree to do the following. You must contact your Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance WIA staff at least once per month to report your status and progress, along with any barriers you may have to staying in the program, such as illness. You must submit a copy of your grades each semester or term. You must submit a copy of your class enrollment information and the cost for each term or semester. You must submit a copy of any financial aid award, such as a Pell Grant, each time you receive an award statement showing receipt or denial of award. You must maintain an overall C grade average or a passing grade if the training goes by a pass-fail system. You must cover the cost of retaking any training course if you fail or drop. Dropping classes is not recommended and should be discussed with your Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance WIA staff prior to doing. You must provide copies of any credentials received during or after training completion, such as certificates, diplomas, or licenses. Once you leave training and go to work, you must provide information on your job or employment status. Finally, you must continue to follow up with your Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance WIA staff periodically for 12 months once you've left the program and gotten a job. Ensure that you understand how you may complete via web as you are near the end of your training program. Let's focus on the next steps and final steps in the application process. Once you have completed this orientation and taken the short online WIA orientation questionnaire at the end, your next steps include the following. Step 1, assessment. Complete a self-assessment of your potential eligibility for this program and decide if training is right for you. Step 2, register an EFM. Register or update your Employ Florida profile, including providing an updated resume at www.employflorida.com. Step 3, application. Complete the WIA application. Copies of the application form can be obtained from any of the Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance one-stop centers. Step 4, research. Research occupational information such as wages and job openings on the career in which you are interested. Verify that your chosen training program is on Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance targeted occupation list. Verify your selected school is on our list of approved training providers. Find out the total cost of the training you are interested in and how you will pay what is not covered by the WIA ITA. Also, identify how you will support yourself while in training. Find out if you have met all the prerequisites that the school would require of you prior to enrollment into your chosen training program. Find out when the next training cycle will begin. Apply for additional financial aid, such as a Pell Grant. Step 5, meet with the WIA staff. After completing your research and previously mentioned requirements, contact WIA staff at our main line, 813-930-7400, or follow specific instructions online to schedule an intake appointment. Prior to your appointment, gather all your required support documents we spoke about earlier in this orientation. Please print out the information sheet available online that lists the required support documents that you must provide to complete your online application. Bring with you to the appointment your required support documents, a printout of your individual assessment results, My Next Move and/or TABE test, the paperwork from the training program you have selected, identifying the program start and end dates, cost, financial breakdown, books, fees, etc. At this appointment, the WIA staff will review your application, the documents you brought with you, and will begin to determine your eligibility and suitability. A career plan and budget will also be created for you while you're in training. A WIA career counselor will process your file to ensure you meet eligibility and suitability, at which point the staff will inform you of your approval into the WIA program or the reasons you were denied WIA services. Step 6, begin training. Meet with your WIA career counselor to receive the voucher for payment of training. At this point, the WIA staff will remind you of your obligations to the program, i.e. monthly contact, submission of grades and timesheets, etc. Question number 5, true or false? I am automatically approved for the WIA program and will begin to receive services as soon as I fill out the application packet. The answer to this question is false. What are other Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance services that may be available to you? There are many other services available through Tampa Bay Workforce Alliance's one-stop centers that you may have access to that can support your job search and job skills training. We also provide special support services for veterans, persons with disabilities, and youth.